This episode contains some strong language and explicit content. We believe in free expression and open conversations, and sometimes that involves using words that might not be suitable for all ages.
Tailored for the mature adult audience, we will pull no punches as we explore the intricacies of leading teams, managing conflicts, and fostering a culture of accountability in the workplace and in real life too. Welcome to Fuck Around and Find Out, the no-nonsense, adult-oriented podcast series by the HR Lady that dives deep into the world of leadership, human resources, and the challenges of the modern workplace. If you're looking for candid conversations and a touch of humor, you're in the right place. Remember, in the world of leadership and HR, it's always better to be proactive than to, well, fuck around and find out. Hey everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR Lady. We are here today with a awesome freaking guest, Heather Vickery. Hey Heather, how you doing?
I'm so good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am so excited to talk to you about manifesting everything.
Everything.
Let's tell our listeners, most of our listeners are in the HR space, small business owners. They're, have 1,900 hats and overwhelmed with everything, which is why they're listening to us. And I just love everything on your website. Tell us about you and how you got to where you are and what your purpose is in life.
Sure. Just start off with an easy softball question, Wendy. No problem. No, I'm kidding. It's a long story. Let's see if I can keep it short and sweet. So the quick answer is I am a transformational success coach that helps people master the trifecta of self, knowing, liking, and trusting themselves so that you can actually go out and have your most joy-filled, most aligned, most alive life because you deserve that. You were born worthy. That didn't come easy to me. It came the hard way. So going way back, past a decade, I literally burned my entire life to the ground and I had what one on paper would consider the perfect life. I had a spouse who was making a ton of money. We had 4 beautiful, perfect, healthy children. We had the biggest house on the block. We traveled. We did all these wonderful things. And I hated my life.
Ouch.
Mostly because I hated myself.
Gotcha.
Right? And what I realized was the biggest tipping point was that I was married to the wrong gender. So we needed to fix that problem. But there were a lot of other things. And society tells us, particularly as women, that we are supposed to always be sacrificing ourselves to put everybody else first, that we have to follow all the rules, that we, need to make sure we're pleasing everyone else before we're pleasing ourselves, all of this. And none of it is true. I call total and utter bullshit on all of it. And so when I say knowing, liking, and trusting yourself, I mean you as you are, the real you, the version of you that deserves to live out loud. And that is what I learned to do. And it is what I help other people do through a gazillion modalities. I have every certification under the sun. I love learning things, but I just want to see more and more people step up and take up space and be honest and say no or say yes to whatever lights you up and actually go out and give the world your very best. But you can't do that if you don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right? So first of all, congratulations to you for, figuring it out and taking that leap. Speaking of making brave leaps.
Oh, nice transition.
Yeah, right. Well, it's, they're not going to see our video here. We're not presentable on Zoom today, but you can hear our audio. And right behind her head on her bookshelf is Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap. So tell us about that.
Thank you. Yeah, that is my book, which I'm so excited to say was a bestseller in 10 categories when it came out, which was really, really exciting. Fuck Fear, the title, which is hilarious, right? People are like, what does that mean? So the core of my work is around embracing bravery instead of attempting to be fearless, right? You can't know, like, and trust yourself if you're pretending you don't have any fears. Bullshit. Yes, you do. We all have fear. And fear either owns us or empowers us. It gives you information. If you get cozy with your fear, you learn from it. And from there, I created what I call the Brave Method, which is what the book is about. So the Brave Method is my creative, strategic approach to problem solving, dreaming, designing, building, and actually having a life that you are in love with and a business that you are in love with. The Brave Method is so cool because it's a 360 approach. You can use it for work, you can use it in romance, you can use it with your parents and your kids and whatever is showing up for you. It supports you. And in the book, I take you through part memoir, part case study, and then actionable steps you can take to live your best life. And we're letting go of this notion that we're supposed to be fearless or that we're supposed to constantly be moving mountains. And we're redefining what bravery looks like for you every single minute of every single day.
Right, because what it looks for like for you is going to be different than what it looks like for me or somebody down the street, right?
Absolutely.
So
and day by day, it may look different for each of us day by day.
Yeah, I'm pretty brave person that most people know me. I don't have a whole lot of fear of anything, or at least I don't show it. I think that's kind of how I was raised. Like, don't show it. And then eventually it was like, well, why can't we just talk about this? Right. Yes. Why can't we just talk about some of the things it's interesting how generations change as well. Mm-hmm. What we're dealing with today in 2024, no other generation has ever dealt with. And whether you're 90 years old or 9 years old, you've got to figure out where you're at today, learn about history, learn about the past, pick up and move forward. So I love it. I love your whole focus. I'm looking at your website right now, which is vickeryandco.com. I'll make sure it's in our podcast wording, and manifest that shit. You have a 5-minute manifestation journal. Love that too.
Yes.
My goodness. How do people find you? Or is it just word of mouth? Like, hey, I need help. Oh, I know this person over here.
Isn't that the greatest question? Every entrepreneur's question is, how do people find me? A lot of word of mouth, because I do have a ton of referral relationships because people like the experience of working with me and they tell other people about it. So I spend most of my social media time on Instagram. That's a really quick way to connect with me. And I know I'm supposed to be doing LinkedIn. I feel like I need to hire like a LinkedIn professional to set everything up because it's not me. But we're gonna work on some ads. If any of you out there listening, like, how to do some ads, hit me up, because the message is so powerful and it's so important. And what you just said about history, like what we're doing right now is nothing, it's never been done before, but we need to know history. We need to know the past so we can be informed. I want you to apply, everybody listening, I want you to apply that to yourself as a person, because the person you are today, you have never been before. You need to look at the past. You need to look at everything that's happened, how you've reacted, the results that you've gotten, and then use that to inform who and how you want to be tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. That's what the Brave Method is all about. That is what I help people do in so many ways. And it is worth the time, and it doesn't have to take a ton of time. You can do this work in 10 or 15 minutes a day, a couple times a week. I can totally help you do that.
I love it. I also love the fact that, you just said, hey, who you are today is not who you were yesterday or ever before. Yeah. And, there's so many times we just started out this podcast talking about, societal expectations, basically, without using those words. And it's like, we even have expectations of ourselves, and we might have set a goal when we're 18 years old or 34 years old or whatever it is. You know what, folks, I'm here to tell you, it's okay to change your goals. It's okay to say, what, I thought I wanted that, but now I don't. Or I started getting that, and it turns out that's not actually what makes me happy. So changing your goals is important to go, it's all right. I want change. I want something different.
Absolutely. That's literally so BRAVE is an acronym, stands for boundaries, what I call the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, resilience, action, and accountability. And then your result is E, expansion and empowerment. And that's what the R is. You can't shift your goals. You can't do any of that if you're not paying attention, if you're not taking the time to look, ask yourself hard questions, get really honest about the answers and say, is that what I want? Is it still what I want? If it's not, what do I want instead? And how do I start creating that?
Yeah, I think so many people, I just know because I help a lot of people as well. And even myself, I was writing down I was stressed out this week. Shocker, right? Last week was an incredibly stressful week for me. And I was like, okay, and the way I calm down is organize things, organize my thoughts. Let's put some goals in. And I'm looking at my goals that I created a couple months ago and was like, oh, look at that. I'm actually achieving them. That's good. Okay, stop stressing then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But rewriting your goals or getting somebody to hold you accountable is so, so important.
Accountability is key. In my Spark Collective, which is my membership community that's available practically for free. Currently, I don't know when this is going to air. Currently, it's $8 a month. We're going to double that in about 6 weeks, but accountability is a huge component of that. But I love what you just said. I actually have a case study in my book, Fuck Fearless, about somebody who started working with me to achieve a very specific and monthly financial goal, but she refused to do her budgeting to see if she'd reached the goal. I can't talk today. To see if she had reached the goal. And finally, I'm like, Liz, you have to look at your books. Not only had she reached that goal, she had surpassed that goal. So she was afraid to look because she didn't want to be disappointed in herself.
Yeah,
but when
I
you
could see that.
when you don't look, you also don't get to be proud of yourself. You miss the opportunity to celebrate and see how well you're doing. It depends on the perspective. Do I want to live in fear and be afraid, or do I want to be brave, face that fear and use that information to do something great?
That's a really good point. I think a lot of people probably do that with weight loss too, right?
Oh,
Where they're
yeah.
like, I'm not going to go on the scale. And maybe the scale is just scary. Okay. Do your clothes fit better? Do you feel better? Are you breathing better? Whatever it might be. But if you're going to set a goal, you should be checking it out to see, is it working?
Yeah.
Am I holding myself accountable?
I love that example because I think there are a lot of ways to do that well. And I want to just remind you all that success has to be self-defined.
Right.
So I am one of those people that I don't get on a scale, but my metrics for success aren't what the scale says. It is, how do I feel in this outfit? How do I feel in these clothes? If I can tell if I'm losing weight or if I'm not losing weight, or if I'm eating the kinds of things that are going to blow me up like a balloon, or if I'm eating things that are going to make me feel energized and excited. I can tell by my clothing. So you get to decide what your metrics for success are in all of the things you're trying to achieve. And it doesn't have to be what everybody else's metrics of success are.
If you can, and this is going to be a hard answer for you, because I know you could talk about this for hours, but if you could just, give our listeners one key piece of advice about, living a brave life and an abundant life, what would that be? Obviously, they're going to be calling you to coach them. But besides that,
yes, please give me a call. We've got something for everyone. I think the very, very first step is to be really radically honest with yourself at every moment. And that is not as easy to do as it sounds like. If you can be real, like, why do I feel this way in this moment? What do I want from this? What am I trying to achieve? Ask yourself questions and be radically honest. You are going to probably shock yourself with the answers, because most of the time we run on autopilot. We do all the things, we check off all the boxes, and we don't even fucking know why we're doing them.
Yeah, somebody told us to, right? A long time ago, or we told ourselves.
Or we told ourselves. Yeah.
And we just were like, well, I don't know. That's what I was supposed to do. Just keep moving forward. Yep. I do that once in a while just with, I whatever's on my calendar, I do. That's how I organize my time. I work by myself. So I'm like, if it's on my calendar, I put it there for a reason. On this day, I have to do it. But once in a while I go, I don't know what that is. What happens if I just delete it? Will anything happen? And I'm like, nothing happened. Wow, look at that. I was doing XYZ because 4 years ago, I decided that was a good idea. And now I go, now I don't really think that's actually giving me any revenue, any profit, any joy in my life. So how about I just delete that? Now, between you and I need to put a little exercise back on there, but we'll get to that.
I just started doing somatic exercise, which is the first time in my life that I'm excited to get up and do any kind of workout. So we'll plug for somatic healing if anybody's interested in it.
Check that out. Awesome. Well, Heather, thank you so much for, coming today and for talking to us. I know we could probably talk for hours. I believe we've already given our listeners where they could find you, not LinkedIn, but LinkedIners possibly might want to help you. I could help you, by the way. Side note there. And you also have your website, vickeryandco.com. And I just love your openings on the website. You know, I help people like you learn to break the bullshit rules that keep them small, stuck, and uninspired. Damn, girl. Talk about being direct, even more direct than me. So thank you so much for coming today. And any of our listeners have any questions, how can they reach out to you?
So easy to find me. Again, vickeryandco.com. I'm Heather_Vickery&Co on Instagram. I love to hang out. I love to meet new people. I would love to meet you. And if it's okay to offer your listeners, the first person that sends me either an email or a DM from this interview, I will give you a gifted coaching session.
Ooh, nice. All right, listeners, just mentioned the HR Lady podcast, the Fuck Around and Find Out series.
That's right. We need the fuck in there.
It's time to break the rules. Take care, everybody.